On the back of an election result that has restricted the BJP to below majority numbers and has given the Congress a sense of buoyancy and momentum with 99 seats, nearly double what they'd got in 2019, Rahul Gandhi, who won both the seats that he contested, has given an interview to the Financial Times where the big headline from that interview, where there isn't very much in that interview, the big headline is that the Modi 3.0 government will not last its full term and that it will collapse. Watch this report, then we debate.
The NDA Sarkar is now up and running, with 293 seats in Parliament, comfortably above the majority mark of 272. Key allies, the TDP and the JDU, have both voiced unequivocal support to Narendra Modi. But the opposition India Alliance still thinks that Modi 3.0 is in minority. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi has fired a fresh salvo. Speaking to Financial Times, Rahul said that, and I quote, "The numbers in the Lok Sabha were very fragile," adding that the smallest disturbance can drop the government, unquote. Rahul added, and I quote, "Basically, one ally has to turn the other way." Without specifying any names, Rahul claimed that people from the NDA are in touch with us and that there was great discontent within the Modi camp. The Congress leader stated that the ruling coalition will struggle because what worked for Narendra Modi in 2014 and 2019 is not working. It was Congress President Kharge who had first claimed that the Modi government was a minority government.
मोदी जी को एक तो मैंडेट नहीं है और माइनॉरिटी गवर्नमेंट है, ये गवर्नमेंट कभी भी गिर सकती है.
This is not going to be a stable government. Everybody know that. That's why we are very much vigilant on 24/7 about the people's issue, which we have raised in the public domain.
Now, Shiv Sena's Uddhav Thackeray faction has also declared that it is looking for an opportunity to topple the Modi government.
हमें पूरा विश्वास है, जैसे राहुल गांधी जी ने कहा कि हम चुप बैठे नहीं हैं, जब भी हमें मौका मिले ये सरकार को गिरा दें.
अब वो सर्टिफिकेट देने वाले कौन होते हैं? श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की लीडरशिप में एनडीए ने 293 सीटें जीती हैं और 5 साल सरकार बहुत स्मूथली चलेगी.
The India Alliance has its eyes on JDU and TDP. JDU has 12 MPs and TDP has 16 MPs in the current Lok Sabha. If both parties leave NDA, then the number of NDA MPs will come down to 265, which is 7 less than the majority mark of 272. And if both the parties join hands with India Alliance, then the opposition alliance will reach 263, which is 9 less than majority. Apart from both the alliances, there are 14 more MPs in the Lok Sabha.
राहुल जी ने जो कहा है बिल्कुल ठीक कहा है कि इस सरकार अल्पमत की सरकार है, भाजपा के अल्पमत की सरकार है और इस पे ताजुब तब नहीं होना चाहिए जब ये सरकार गिरे. ताजुब तब तक होना चाहिए जब तक ये सरकार चल जाए. या तो मोदी जी अपनी कार्य प्रणाली बदलेंगे, अमित शाह जी बदलेंगे, और अगर नहीं बदलेंगे तो ये सरकार चलेगी नहीं.
मुंगेरी लाल का हसीन सपना राहुल गांधी जी दिन के उजाले में ले रहे हैं और ये बयान उनका 2014 से चल रहा है. तो ये मुंगेरी लाल का हसीन सपना जो पिछले 10 साल में पूरा हुआ, आगे भी पूरा होने वाला नहीं है.
It is true that politics and politicians are unpredictable. What happens next? Will Modi 3.0 last its full 5-year term? We will have to wait and watch. Bureau Report, India Today.
So is this wishful thinking, psychological operations, mind games, or just the usual political rhetoric? Or is it predicated on something substantial. Rahul Gandhi's big headline after the elections is that the Modi 3.0 government will not last its full term. He says one of the allies is definitely going to jump ship. To debate this tonight on News Track, I'm joined by Rashid Kidwai, author and political commentator, Sanjay Jha, political analyst, Rajat Sethi, political commentator. But I'm going to start with Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the BJP. Shehzad, what do you think? Wishful thinking, predicated on reality, vulnerability of the government, Rahul Gandhi playing mind games? What do you think?
Thank you, Shiv, for having me on your show. And it's also Rahul Gandhi's birthday, incidentally. So let me wish him a very happy birthday. And
we all wish him a happy birthday.
Is yet another evidence that just because you grow 1 year his birthday is an evidence that just because you grow 1 year older doesn't mean you become 1 year wiser. And I think that even at 54, he speaks first, thinks later, and that's what is being projected even now. Let me tell you why. Because Rahul is coming off like a nosy neighbor who is more interested in what's happening in somebody else's house rather than his own. The NDA 3 government has been formed. The Prime Minister has been elected and sworn in. There are 71 ministers along with him. There is an NDA government in Arunachal, Andhra and Odisha that has also been sworn in. But yet we don't have an LOP as of now because they have not even had a discussion with their allies. The India alliance, by the way, fell apart in Delhi as soon as the elections got over. The India alliance hasn't resurrected itself in Bengal or in Kerala. The India alliance is going in tatters in Kerala because they projected Priyanka Vadra without even asking the left. Here you have the party falling apart right from Haryana to Karnataka, but Rahul Gandhi, the nosy neighbor, is more interested in what's happening in somebody else's house. And let me also tell one more thing. You know, on India Today, particularly on the 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. shows, the Congress party spokespersons would come and tell the anchors of those shows, look, the BJP is doing jod tod ki rajniti, and Rashid used to be a part of those
specific
debates,
comments on any shows,
today at least,
Shehzad. Just make your point.
At least from today, the sanctimonious, lecturing that was given to us, that we go around breaking parties and breaking governments, that will stop from all anchors, 5 p.m., 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. And perhaps they will ask the Congress party a question or two about who is doing jod tod ki rajniti. Let me give 2 concrete examples. One, the India Alliance fielded a candidate in Sangli called against Vishal Patil. Vishal Patil was the rebel candidate not of the India Alliance, but the Congress supported him, got him to win, and now took him in the party. Pappu Yadav was fielded as a rebel against Bhima Bharti, the official candidate of RJD. Pappu Yadav won, and they took him in the alliance. So who is breaking their own alliance and who's taking their own alliance for granted? They haven't been able to even come up with an LOP. And I would lastly, just 10 more seconds, forget about our stability, show some worthiness towards your fidelity. You said that महंगाई कम करेंगे, कर्नाटका में महंगाई पानी से लेकर बिजली तक और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी से लेकर डीजल पेट्रोल तक बढ़ा दी. So show some fidelity towards the promises you made.
So Shehzad says that Rahul, just to very quickly summarize before I bring in Sanjay Jha, Shehzad says that this is all silly stuff. The opposition has more than enough of its own problems to be dwelling on what's happening with what Shehzad says is a very stable government, and this is just wishful thinking, and it's making Rahul Gandhi look very silly. Sanjay Jha, is this just psychological operations, which is par for the course? Just because the election is over doesn't mean the rhetoric needs to end. God knows we've seen enough rhetoric, warnings, claims, aims, etc. during this election campaign. Is Rahul Gandhi just indulging in a bit of it, or is there some actual, vulnerability that he seems to want to tap into?
Shiv, good evening and good to be on your program, and hello to all my fellow panelists. This is actually a serious program if you think about it. I agree with you completely. The hyperbole will continue because in politics, that's what we do best. But the bottom line is that everybody also knows that this is, for the first time, a very strongman, authoritarian leader who's being supported by alliance partners that he really genuinely does not trust. And here are 2 points I wish to make. I'm not going to indulge in this petty pedestrian conversation on the way Shehzad took off, because by that logic, I think, that age and competence and maturity may be inversely related, can also apply to a gentleman who's 74 years old. But let's move on from that point. I think the larger point is that if you look at the intrinsic problem that this government has, Narendra Modi has always been given the credit, and I think rightfully so, for being extremely decisive. Now look at the issues on which he now is actually having both his feet on two separate banana peels. Uniform civil code, making the one nation, one election a reality. Third, I think very critical again, in fact, the government, or rather the political party, claimed they would even contemplate changing the name of India. You've had issues in terms of probably forcing changes in the Indian federal structure that Mr. Modi is gambled on big time. There are people who have also been concerned. I mean, that's a genuine worry about various constitutional amendments. One of the reasons why they did disastrously in Uttar Pradesh. So I think there is going to be a problem. And one of the biggest ones, in my opinion, Shiv, before we get the other panelists in, is going to be that in this election, Mr. Modi himself made a very undisguised, unalloyed, unambiguous anti-minority pitch. And we know that we are talking about primarily Muslims here. And if you look at both the JDU and the TDP, look at the TDP's manifesto, Shiv, in detail. And I think there's nothing wrong with that manifesto at all. They have talked about emancipation of the minorities and Muslims in particular. And I think it flies in the face of Mr. Modi's extremely polarizing narrative. How will this government survive these inherent contradictions? I think Ram Bharose, only God knows.
But not being able to perhaps, as swiftly conduct business and, push forward with national agenda items is not necessarily the same thing as instability, is what I would argue back. But we'll get back into that in a little bit more detail. Rajat, the issue of vulnerability is something that we've seen right from the day of the results. But, all the indicators that have come out, there is no question that Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar are unpredictable politicians. And I would never sit here and predict what's going to happen over 5 years. But the sense that has been given out and the sense that has been seen to be given out by both these allies is that they are here for the 5 years and they are not going anywhere. Do you see any vulnerabilities vis-a-vis these two allies? Because that's what is being indicated by Rahul Gandhi and Sanjay.
See, this is where, the two camps, the NDA and the India Alliance, are living in two alternative realities. And you'll be astonished, and your viewers will be astonished. I was speaking to a few senior Congress leaders. They are genuinely convinced that somehow this election they have won. They're not calling it moral victory or anything. It's just their body language. Internally, they're very serious about it. They genuinely feel that the mandate is in their favor, and this government is just a government where sort of a ragtag government which will fall any day. This is a genuine internalized idea about the current mandate. If they are so far away from where the common sense reality sort of says, what can you say? Right now, I have been to a few international channels, including Al Jazeera and France 24. I was just telling them the largest party in India has 240 seats. The second largest party has 99 seats. And the third largest party has around 37 odd seats. In this is the pecking order. In this pecking order, do you, by any kind of a mathematical arrangement, do you think that the alternative formation will see any kind of stability will so many 15, 16 parties come together and come up to a common minimum program? Or even that is a viable? And then there are multiple numbers of internal inconsistencies, which will be, if we start off, the whole show will be over. So my point is that, see, there's a nursery rhyme, if wishes were horses, beggar would ride it. The problem is, right now, if you only want to wishfully think that the government will fall, the government will not fall. Rahul Gandhi will have to show consistency and maturity on people-centric issues. The way he sort of handles it and corners the government over and over again is how he can destabilize the government. There are
and we've got a parliament session that's coming up where the opposition, including Rahul Gandhi, will have that first opportunity to demonstrate any new consistency he may have harnessed. But Rashid Bhai, your take on this, beyond the rhetoric and whether this person will leave or not, as far as the numbers are concerned, 240 with the BJP, over 290 overall. You've been on many shows where you've talked about whether this government is actually fragile. There is no question that the BJP has been cut to size. But is it fragile in your view, as Rahul is indicating?
Both yes and no. Shiv, we have had long history of coalition governments. Coalition governments are inherently, unstable. They have, even if they are stable, they do not know what will happen, week down the line, a month, a year. So there is a degree of vulnerability. And vulnerability is not just about numbers. It's about also what to do with something to with the internal, politics of that particular political party. Look what happened in Janata Party in 1977. And suddenly Charan Singh came out and it went away. Then Chandrasekhar government. Then we have VP Singh government when Rajiv Gandhi government was very stable. So there are all kind of examples are there. There is also political, a situation in the country. There are going to be elections in Haryana, Maharashtra, Jharkhand, and J&K. See, political loyalty in this kind of alliance regime is highly transactional. As long as Mr. Modi is successful, as long as Mr. Modi can win under his leadership, BJP can win states, everything is going to be fine. But if at all, if there are electoral setbacks, then it would set people thinking. And that is where it comes in. See, here there are only two formations are there. One is, of course, NDA and India Alliance. Both need to consolidate their kind of alliance partners, and both have a chance. So you can be talking about 99. Actually, the Congress figure is now 102 because 3 independent MPs have joined. But that is not important. I think Mr. Modi will need to be very careful. The kind of thing that he is displaying, that everything is normal, everything is, is a continuation of Modi 2.2, it actually betrays a sense of nervousness and anxiety.
Shehzad, it's one thing to exude body language of stability. There is no doubt that the numbers that stack up in this coalition government are much more than what the UPA government and the Congress had enjoyed in their 2 terms between 2004 and 2014. But is there a sense of fragility? I mean, that is being acknowledged that it's not the same anymore. The first 10 years was a brute majority. This time, vulnerabilities have to be acknowledged. Maybe Rahul Gandhi is, using rhetoric and making it sound very dramatic, but those vulnerabilities exist.
Shiv, there have been some people, especially and particularly on this panel, who have been very consistent. I must applaud them, but they've been consistently looking for these vulnerabilities, and they've been consistently wrong about these vulnerabilities. For instance, there have been some people on this panel who said in 2001, Modi cannot be the chief minister of Gujarat, he won't be able to survive. Then in 2013, they said there will never be a time when Modi will be the prime minister of India. Then when he became the prime minister, they said, how will this Modi ever have foreign relations with any other country? And then when he became the prime minister in 2019 and 2024, now they are saying that Modi will not last for 5 years. So they've been consistent but consistently wrong, and I think you know very well who are those consistent cynics. Having said that, let me tell you that stability, as Rashid is trying to portray, is not just a function of arithmetic. Stability is also a function of political chemistry. And the fact of the matter is, whether you look at it from the arithmetic point of view or the chemistry point of view, this alliance has both those key ingredients. Let me give you an example. If you go back in time and see all the alliances, which alliances are usually stable? One whose core is big. For instance, the UPA2 had a stronger core of 206. We have an even stronger core of 240. That's a numerical way of looking at it. But the other aspect is this, which is the chemistry aspect, where there's a strong leader and a pan-national presence and a pre-poll alliance. That's what we have. That's what some alliances had in some measure before this, but no alliance has had it as strong as we do. And therefore, this is not just backed by strong arithmetic, it's also backed by strong chemistry. But let me make a last pointer, and that last point is this, that my dear friend Sanjay, you have been predicting that Modi wouldn't be Prime Minister in 2014. And then you said it in 2019. I continue to say that Sanjay is suspended not just in position, but in logic, because he keeps making these claims, but they never come true. So Sanjay, even while you're trying to unlock EVMs through phone OTPs, I wish you well. Keep looking, but you didn't answer the question I asked you. Is Uddhav happy with the arrangement of Vishal Patil? No answer, Sanjay. Is Pappu Yadav's arrangement going to make RJD happy? No answer, Sanjay. I wonder, Sanjay, why you never answer a question as it's posed.
Let me toss in a question. Sanjay can choose to answer, Shehzad, but I'll toss in a question because, Sanjay, one of the first comments that you made following the results, I remember right here on India Today, was actually, something that Shehzad would agree with. Where you said, don't underestimate Modi's ability to handle a coalition, and you cannot underestimate his ability, to juggle the new dynamics and rules of engagement in a coalition government and this new reality in Modi 3.0. If that is true, then Rahul Gandhi is fooling himself, isn't he? Then you don't agree with Rahul Gandhi, Sanjay.
No, Shiv, I'll tell you what I meant there, and I repeat that. Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah have demonstrated over the last 10 years the powers of the Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed politics, right? Operation Lotus is probably the BJP's biggest legacy over the last 10 years. How to topple governments, how to hijack people, how to threaten them, use electoral bonds.
I hate interrupting, Sanjay, but what does that have to do with Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar?
No, I'm just answering the broader point. The broader point here
Sanctimonious
is this, and let's pay attention to that.
Again.
Number one point is, and this is where Rajat is a very smart guy with the numbers, but he cannot dispute that. You see, what is different in this election is that the people of India have discovered that this was the most lopsided election. It was not a level playing field. So Rajat has to recognize this reality that the people have known. Shiv, more people I talk to, the more they appreciate what Congress and India has done, because they knew that the money and the resources, the ED, CBI, income tax, the harassment of opposition chief ministers being put in jail, Congress bank accounts being frozen, all of it made it, it's like a 100-meter race where Sanjay Jha is running, starting at 50 meters with a handicap, and poor Shiv Arur has got no sneakers, is not being allowed to wear proper athletic wear, and he's running the full 100 meters. Even if I'm running at a snail's pace, I'm going to beat you, Shiv, although you are a muscular stud of a guy. So that is the reality. Point number two, and a very important point, Shiv. Point number two, if you look at what Rajiv Gandhi's message was, Rajiv Gandhi's political party, the Congress, was the single largest party in 1989.
Yeah.
It came down dramatically. We agree that number was huge. But Rajiv Gandhi did not even offer his candidature to be prime minister because he said the mandate is against me. And here is a gentleman by the name of Mr. Modi, India's prime minister, who basically said 400
But
seats,
the drop is not that dramatic. Come on, Sanjay.
Less.
The comparison is an unfair one.
No, it is not. I'll tell you why. Mr. Modi gaslighted India. Just one section.
Let me answer.
Mr. Modi gaslighted India into believing it's 400 seats. He got 160 less. And he still believes the mandate is in his favor. I can tell you, just wait till October, when the BJP is likely to be wiped out in Maharashtra, Haryana and Jharkhand. And by December, you may have a new election.
No, but I'm just wondering whether the 400 par thing, which was taken obviously very seriously as a campaign kind of refrain, you're pinning it on, that as a yardstick by which to judge this mandate, which doesn't look fair to me. Quickly, Shehzad, then I'll go to Rajat.
Look, this is Sanjay Jha, and again I say why he's suspended in more than one ways. We came down from 303 to 240. We don't have the mandate to form government. But Congress, which contested 328 seats and managed to win 99, did not cross 100 for the third time consecutively, and is the third worst performance of the Congress. They have a right to form the government. I asked Sanjay two straight-up questions. Uddhav Thackeray, RJD. He didn't answer those questions. 1 second, sir. I did not interrupt you. There is a reason why I put that question to you. And in fact, please answer it in the third time. Maybe you will be able to. That will still be better than Rahul's attempts, because he's had 7-8 attempts and he's still not been able to deliver the goods. But having said that, 1 second, sir, please don't interrupt. Look, Shiv, this 9 p.m. sanctimonious debating things has gone on for too long. Today, Sanjay Jha came and said, we grabbed the government. In 2019, who formed the government in Maharashtra? It was the BJP Shiv Sena government. Who grabbed Shiv Sena away from us? 2020, it was an alliance of NDA. Bihar, it was JDU and BJP. Who grabbed JDU away from us? So let's call this out. Bank accounts are not frozen. Congress's bank accounts are not frozen. There is a lien. Perhaps Sanjay Jha's English is better than mine. He would know the difference between a lien and a frozen. But he still peddles guys, and he's given platforms to do that.
Sanjay, quick one.
A very quick response. I mean, Shehzad, you have been in Maharashtra. I can tell you that Mr. Eknath Shinde and Mr. Ajit Pawar are probably going to be the new manifestations of a serious problem for you. Hold your breath for a while. But I think on the larger point of toppling governments, may I give you the excellent example of Arunachal Pradesh, where an entire government was hijacked.
Uddhav Thackeray, Vishal
the
Patil.
Entire government was hijacked.
RJD, Pappu Yadav, answer the question.
Puducherry. Come on, Shehzad, you cannot whitewash what has been a blatant destruction of democracy under Mr. Modi.
Okay, Rajat.
The Congress which misused 356 is lecturing the BJP.
Okay. Let's move it forward. Let's move it forward on this. we can butt heads on all these points, but let's take it forward because the larger debate is finally about the vulnerabilities. Sanjay, made a couple of points referring to you. Rajat, you want to take those on? Rajat, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Amidst all the political banter that we heard from Sanjay ji respectfully, he just slid in a very important line towards the end of his comment. He said that in December, we will have a national election again. So he clearly believes that the India formation is so fragile that as of now, it cannot give us a stable government.
No, we're not toppling government, we're ethical. That's what I meant.
Sir, please, this is the biggest admission you made on live television. Now, the audience of India Today can very easily go back and look up what you said in the previous comment. This is the level of confidence that some of the insiders of the Congress party also have about the vulnerabilities of the India alliance in the first place. And I think this is where the story should stop. All such discussion should stop. Internally, Rahul Gandhi and his folks around him clearly know that the other alternative doesn't have a viable situation, viable prospects of giving us another sort of a government. If the national election has to happen in the best case scenario, the mandate will again go back to the public to decide if they want a khichdi sort of an alliance wherein BJP doesn't have the numbers, or do they want to go out and elect another strong government. You should leave that to the public. But right now, one thing is clear. They are trying to play an international game too. They want to project to the world somehow that delusional world that they're living in is the reality. And that delusional world of sneakers, us not having sneakers and they are having sneakers and they have this and that, supposedly has given them the reason for being happy about this mandate. Let them don't mislead the global investors that this government is going to fall, because that costs us Indians. It is in the negative interest of our own country if you create this around the world air of suspicion that this government is unstable. Please don't do that. Show them the numbers. Let me tell you, nobody globally knows the exact numbers of the situation, how things are pegged. They go by these headlines. And this is the misfortunate sort of thing that Congress party is indulging in.
I'm completely out of time, but I'll leave the last word to Rashid because I'm wondering, whether khichdi or not, is there an attempt being made at all by the India alliance to fish in, allegedly troubled waters? The BJP says there's nothing troubled here. Everything's absolutely fine. Look inside your own house to the India alliance. But is there some strategizing actually going on, Rashid bhai?
Not really. I think
Rashid bhai, just before you come in,
I think it is just
Rajat
posturing.
should know that his government is a khichdi government. He should know that. It's a khichdi government currently. So don't be critical of khichdi.
Okay, Rashid. I love khichdi. There's nothing criticizing khichdi,
exactly.
But you know what I mean. Yes. Rashid bhai, last comment, yeah.
So khichdi, if you want to eat khichdi, you cannot just put your hand in that hot plate of khichdi. You have to go sideways. So therefore, I think from the India Alliance point of view, they are just fancying their chances. There is nothing substantive at present, but they are looking for an opening. This is just a mind game that is being played, and even for international audience, etc. Both sides are doing it. One side is showing that everything is normal, continuity, very determined government. Other side is saying it is very weak and unstable. See, the allies tend to be, look at the track record, as Mr. Gadkil had famously said that Atal Bihari Vajpayee has constantly fetching 3 human bombs: Mamta, Samta, Jayalalitha. So that kind of regional parties have a tendency to flare up at any point of time, and that is what. And there is of course internal situation of the BJP, and as I said, how Mr. Modi performs in Haryana, Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Jammu Kashmir.
We have a big parliament season coming up in the next few weeks, which we'll be looking at very closely. There will be even more indicators as far as stability or lack thereof. This is going to be one big bone of contention. There's going to be a lot of psychological warfare between both sides under these new dynamics and rules of engagement. It's going to be very interesting to see. But thank you, Shehzad. Thanks, Rajat, Sanjay and Rashid for joining me on debate number 1 tonight.